Hi everyone, it's Marisa from BumblebeeApothecary.com, and today I am here to share with you my birth story for my fifth baby and introduce her to you. So I'm excited to share this birth story with you. I have all four of my other birth stories up on my channel already, so if you're interested in checking out any of those, you can find them all on my channel. But this one is a really fun one to share too. So let's just jump in and get started with how things went. So this one was another day birth. My first three children were all born in the night. Labor started in the night and they were born in the early morning. And then my fourth baby was a day birth, kind of similar to this one. And this one was a day one as well, which was so nice because it's amazing to be able to have gotten a full night of sleep beforehand going into labor. So I will have those other birth stories down in the description box too if you want to find them easily that way. I'll have them all linked down there for you. So at the time of filming, she is 5 days old. I've never done one of these where I share the birth story this soon. I've always just given myself like an entire month or more before I go back into filming, but I wanted to go ahead and film this one very fresh and new, just because I wanted it all to be very vivid in my mind, you know, just very recent, and so just for my memories to have, and then just because I love hearing other people's birth stories when they do that too. So 5 days old, very brand new. So let's jump into how things went. So she was born on a Monday. The Saturday evening previously, I felt a couple contractions where I was like, that doesn't feel like Braxton Hicks. That feels like something more. And then just kind of dismissed it because nothing else happened that night or anything. The next day, Sunday, early in the morning, like before I got out of bed, I felt a few more. And I was like, we'll see how this day goes. Should I go to church? I went ahead and got ready and everything, and no more contractions happened throughout the morning. So I went ahead about my day. Had a normal Sunday, pretty much, although I just kept in the back of my mind, those were real contractions, so we better just, keep that in mind. So at that point, I was still 37 weeks, so a ways off from my due date. My other babies have all come 1 to 3 days before their due date. So 2 of them came 2 days before, one day before, and 1 3 days before. So it had been pretty consistent, so it would be early, on the early side, but still far enough along that baby would be full term and it would be fine. I was clear to be having a home birth again and all that. So I wasn't concerned, but I was like, it's kind of early. I still have some things on my to-do list that I did want to get done before this baby comes, but they'll come when they're ready. So just kind of kept an eye on it. I had a pretty normal Sunday. That evening, Sunday evening, I felt like I don't want to stick around at church too long. We better get going home just in case. I just felt like things could maybe start happening, but I wasn't sure. The next day, Monday, I didn't really feel much. I had a contraction here and there, just very spread out, very random. Nothing made me think, okay, for sure this baby's coming today. It was different from my fourth baby where I was already by 5 in the morning, I was having, contractions that were coming often enough to where I was like, probably something's happening today. That wasn't the case. They were very spread out, didn't have very many. Got up, got my kids ready for the day, drove my 2 oldest to school, totally fine, like not worried about contractions are coming while I'm driving or anything like that. And they weren't. I got home, did some things, talked to a friend of mine on the phone for a while. During the phone call, had maybe 2, maybe 3 at the most contractions that were not a big deal. Like they were there, nothing, not a big deal. Like didn't interrupt the conversation or anything. It didn't make me think like this baby's coming or anything. That was probably got off the phone a little after 10. Thought, okay, I need to probably start getting my Monday stuff going, like get my laundry going, stuff like that. Then some more contractions started coming. Not super close together, not consistent, but stronger to where I had to actually start breathing to get through them a bit. And then 11 a.m., they started coming stronger. Still not super close together. Maybe the closest was like a few minutes together, but most of them were a lot farther apart than that. But they were stronger. Like I was needing to breathe to get through them, and actually like kneel on the floor by the couch, because being on my hands and knees and more forward felt good. And then breathing, well, I went to a bodywork person. If you're not familiar with bodywork, it's also called craniosacral therapy sometimes. But it's like a combination between massage and chiropractic adjustment is the way that I like to think of it. But it's all about like relieving tension, making room in the body. I did it before my fourth and third baby, and those were, so, you know, by then my easiest labors for sure. I feel like it made a huge difference. So I had been to her one time in this pregnancy pretty recently. I think it was the week before. And she was talking about breathing to where it feels like you're inflating a balloon in your pelvis. And then I had that in my mind, so I was like, I'm going to try breathing like that through the contractions. It really helped. I just filled that air, like breathed in, inhaled, filled, imagined filling a balloon in my pelvis. So it's directing the breath downward. And then on the exhale too, like directing that downward, filling that area with air both ways. So that really helped. It made it so that the contractions were less painful. They were more, I think, like targeted, directed, effective, things like that. So every time that I had one, I breathed that way. And so they kept coming. So by 11 a.m. I knew, okay, I'm in labor. I went ahead and I texted my midwife. She called and kind of talked about how things were. I went ahead and let my husband know, okay, things are starting, you better come home. And then after that, like, they got much stronger. Still not, they never throughout this whole labor got super close together, ever. I had plenty of time in between to totally relax and just be relaxed and calm, and everything was so nice. So between then, I start filling the pool. We already had it blown up and ready to go. Oh, I didn't talk about that. Sunday night, I was like, I'm going to get things ready just in case. I know it's early, but those were real contractions. Even though there weren't very many of them, those were real. I'm just going to get things ready. I'll just feel better. I'll be more relaxed if I know everything's ready. So I blew up the pool Sunday night, put the liner in. What else did I do? There was another last minute thing I needed to do. Oh, hooked up the hose so that it would be ready to fill the pool, just so I knew everything was good to go, just in case. And that made me feel a lot better. So anyway, the pool was ready to go. So right then, when I knew they were real, the contractions were real, I started filling up the pool. My two little boys were still with me at that time. The other person I texted was my sister-in-law, just letting her know, I think labor's starting, can you come get my other kids? And so that was interesting, filling up the pool, stopping every now and then to breathe through a contraction. My little kids are just, they've got so many questions, and I'm trying to be like, okay, just leave me alone for just a little bit, okay? Okay, now I can answer your question. Very interesting. So people started showing up. The midwives got there first. They knew how fast the other birth went, the previous birth, and so they were like, okay, you let us know on the earlier side this time, and they got there right away. So they came, helped me get into the pool. Then my sister-in-law came and got my other kids who were still home with me and took them. And then a little bit while later, my husband showed up. So then I just labored in the pool, getting those stronger contractions, breathing through them. The water helped so much. The entire labor time from start to finish was just under an hour and a half. So for most of that time was first stage labor, just in the pool, breathing through every time that they would come. I stopped and would drink a little bit when I asked for it, when I felt like I needed it. I ate some cheese, tangerine, just a little snack because, it was getting closer to what would be lunchtime and I was getting a little bit hungry, so I asked for that, ate that. Yeah, just enjoyed the feeling of the water in between, breathed through those contractions. They were getting stronger, and then my water broke. The two contractions before my water broke were definitely the hardest. Pressure was building, and then everything felt a lot better once the water broke and the pressure was off. So once that happened, then everything was fully dilated. I feel like I had probably been, with those other contractions probably starting to dilate quite a lot, quite a few, quite a bit of time before this actual day, I'm guessing. I don't have them check me, so I don't know, but I feel like that's probably the case. So all of that first stage went pretty quick. Yeah, after water broke, then the pressure was off. Those 2 contractions right before were definitely the hardest, with that pressure that had been building, to get through. I tried something that I've never tried before in labor this time, and that's holding combs, so one in each hand, and then you can kind of squeeze them, and it kind of distracts your body, your mind from pain. And so the water, of course, helped a lot, so they weren't terribly painful to begin with, but that just was an added layer that I thought I would try, and I do think it was helpful. Yeah, so those 2 right before water broke were the ones where I was like, okay, this is hard. I gotta focus my breath and stay on top of this. And then after that, I was fully dilated and felt the urge to push, and the pushing stage lasted 15 minutes. So different from my first 2 labors where it was 4 hours long. I think I was going to count the pushing contractions, and I didn't, so I don't know how many there were, but I'm guessing it was somewhere between 6 and 9. And it went really well. I just felt each one was very effective. So I'm the type of person, my body type is where I still have to work hard at pushing a baby out. They don't just fall out of my body even after this many kids. But this was definitely the easiest by far. I mean, my previous 2 were not bad either. They were pretty quick and easy too, but they were bigger babies, 9.5 pounds. And this one was so much easier. I could feel her progressing down each time I pushed. There were, I think, 2 contractions, 1 or 2, where I felt like, okay, it's not really progressing. And we saw later that her head was positioned just a little bit to the side, just at first, not much. So I think those were the 2 where it was a little bit to the side, and then once she got it straightened out, I was able to push her down. Every time I pushed, I focused my breath down, kept my chin tucked. Just 15 minutes of pushing, and then she was born, just came right out, perfect position, came out into the water, which is the first time I've had a baby come out into the water. I've always somehow needed to stand up or something beforehand, so that was neat. Scooped her up. They helped to get her onto my chest, and she was a surprise. We didn't know what we were having, if it was a boy or a girl. That I've had my oldest is a girl, and then 3 boys in a row, and so I felt like it was probably going to be another boy, so I was surprised to be having a girl. But everybody's so excited for her. They really wanted a sister, and so it was pretty exciting. And she was smaller, 8 pounds 1 ounce, which is one of the things that made it so fast and easy too. And yeah, she did great. She was 20.5 inches long. So for being born at technically 37 weeks, that's still a pretty good sized baby. I was glad that she came when she did. It's good size, not too big, not too small. And she was alert, taking her first breaths, looking around, just nice and calm. Yeah, it was beautiful. And then everything else went great afterwards. Recovery has been amazing. No tearing, no trauma or anything down there. There wasn't really even any swelling to speak of. It's just been an amazing recovery physically. Just like it hardly impacted my body at all. It felt like it was just so easy to just feel pretty normal again. Of course, I'm still taking it easy because there is that placenta-sized wound inside that needs to heal, and so I'm taking that seriously and giving that time to heal. Staying in bed as much as possible for this first week to 10 days or so. But yeah, just amazing at what a smooth, easy delivery makes for recovery afterwards. So nice. So different from my first 2 labors that were a lot harder. And she's been doing great. She did have a bit of a tongue tie, like a lower down, thicker one, a lip tie. So we got those taken care of a couple days ago. And so that's helping with latching better and nursing better. I just know from my other kids having it done as a newborn is the way to go, because they are so much happier and easier, and everything goes so much better when they can nurse properly. And then of course it impacts things later on in life, like airway, proper palate formation, speech, breathing, neck and shoulder tension, so many different things. Sleep apnea prevention later in life, all that kind of stuff. It's just amazing what all it impacts. So got rid of those ties, and yeah, things have been going great. Sleep is a little spotty for the first couple nights, but it's getting better. She's doing great at night now, getting more consistent sleep-wake patterns, and then we'll work into more of a routine in the day as things go on. I've learned to just be relaxed about it and encourage them towards nice patterns, but you know, it goes by so fast, trying to remember to just enjoy it. And yeah, so that is her birth story. Just under 1.5 hour at home water birth. It was an amazing experience. So thankful that she's here. Still wrapping my mind around the fact that she's a girl, because that's not quite what I was expecting, and still wrapping my mind around the fact that she's here already instead of, 15 days later like her due date said, a couple weeks later, since I usually go a little bit before. Just glad to have her here. Her siblings love her so much. They are so excited. They're just enamored with her. We all love her. And yeah, so I hope that you enjoyed hearing that birth story. Like I said, I'll link my other ones down below if you'd like to check those ones out. But I'm glad that I got to do this one while she's still so brand new. It's something that I've been wanting to do. It's hard to find a quiet time, but the kids are out of the house for right now, so I thought I would take this opportunity and go ahead and film her birth story while it's still very fresh in my mind, and for my sake, and then to share it with you guys too. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed that. Check out that description box for those other videos and links to all different kinds of things I've made for you guys. If you did like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with anybody else who you think would find it interesting or helpful, and if you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I get out new videos every week on nourishing recipes and natural living. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.